Department. I'm assigned to the K9 unit. In a minute, I'll get my buddy out. His name's Benzo. He is very friendly to me, but not so friendly to others. So if we can just not pet him or anything like that, or try to, if you got small kids, just try to wrangle them up as best you can. I'll keep them occupied. I just don't want to have to explain to my boss. I like my job so much. So what I'm going to do is, before I get started, I'll kind of explain it to you. So I can get him out and show you guys him versus keep him out here. Kind of old. I've been doing this all day, so I want to make sure you can maximize seeing him as much as I can. So like I said, I work for the K9 unit. I've been a handler for just over, or actually 2 years this month. Before that, I worked patrol for a few years. I've been a cop for 6. We have 5 handlers in our unit. We have 3 dogs that are trained to detect narcotic drugs and 2 that are trained to detect bombs. So the 3 narc dogs are trained on soon to be 4 odors. It's cocaine, meth, heroin, and then fentanyl. We're trained up fentanyl right now. It's going pretty well. We should be certified on it shortly. And then the 2 are trained to detect the presence of bombs. So they'll utilize for all of our bomb sweeps for major events, festivals. They help out around the valley all the time with ASU football games and Super Bowl when it was here and all that fun stuff. At Chandler Police Department, all of our dogs are dual certified, which means that they are trained to not only detect certain substances, but also trained to do patrol work. So all of our man-hunting, our trailing, area searching for bad guys, building searches, and then also trained for locating articles of evidence. The dogs are primarily a locating tool. All the cool bike stuff you see on the news or on videos and stuff, we don't get a lot of those. We get some, not a ton. They're primarily used for locating bad guys or locating stuff with their noses. I'm governed by use of force policy, so I can't just bite everybody because I can't. I got to be able to articulate why I do it. And typically, we only bite for violent felonies, not necessarily normal misdemeanor crimes. I'm gonna pass this around to you guys because it's cool to look at. It's a bulletproof vest that he sometimes wears depending upon the call. There's a cool patch on there if you guys want to take a look at it. There's a, it's on one of the signs, I don't remember which one. It's at K528. So our badge numbers, our call signs for the department are K for K9, and then our badge number, so mine's King 766. King 528 was Officer Christopher R. He was hit and killed at the Santan Ford incident back in 2021. The dog I currently have was his dog at the time of his death. So that's one way that the unit decided to remember Chris and honor him, was to put that patch together. We contacted the company that makes our vest, told them the story. They're more than happy to send us a bunch of free ones. And everybody who's a canine handler, which we haven't done any new ones since me, that gets on the unit, passes canine probation, gets that patch for the fuel. So we stick it on our vests. Just a couple of things to do to remember Chris. It's a bulletproof vest that he wears it for certain situations where I feel like he'll need extra protection. Along with patrol and narcotics detection, I'm attached to our SWAT team. We have 3 handlers currently attached to the SWAT team. However, all 5 guys can deploy their dogs on SWAT operations, but typically it's just 3 of us. So we all run collateral duties. So while we're canine handlers, we're also doing SWAT work. So we have an on-call status and standby status for both. The other 2 guys were prior SWAT guys; they just no longer are, but they still do stuff with the unit. And then I typically work. All of us typically work a graveyard shift. So I'm Wednesday to Saturday, 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. So is another handler. Other guys Tuesday to Friday, 6 to 3, and then we have 2 other guys that are on the opposite side of the week, which they're Sunday to Wednesday, 7 to 4. So you guys in the city of Chandler have full-time coverage the entire week. And we typically work at night because it's just too hot to do dog work during the day. It's just more advantageous for the dogs to utilize at night. But even at night during hot times in the summers, they usually have a 10 to 15 minute shelf life when it comes to surgeries and stuff that we have to put up in the car to rest. So nighttime's always the best case, always the best utilization for dog work. As the K9 unit, like I said, our primary role is to help and assist the road, whether that be Chandler Police Department or other agencies. So I have the ability, if say Tempe or Mesa doesn't have a dog working that night and needs assistance on a call with a dog, I have the ability to go over to their cities and help them out. So I have the cool function of being able to work for different agencies if nothing's going on in the city of Chandler, which is not good. We have, like I said, 5 dogs. We would like to have more, but we just don't have the staffing to be able to get that. We'll take 5 when we can. We're a pretty big city, almost 300,000 people. We should get there by the time we put all these apartment complexes. So we're kind of doing our best we can with staffing, but 5 dogs is what we got right now. You might see other agencies for event sweeps having like floppy ear dogs, like labs and stuff, doing bomb sweeps. Typically those are just single purpose dogs. Like I said, ours are dual purpose, which means that they can find stuff and bite. Any immediate questions that stuff I addressed or anything before I get them out?
I missed part of it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't do it. I completely glossed over that question. It's a Belgian Malinois. He's a Belgian Malinois. Sorry, I usually start off by saying with that, but
That's all right. That's just true.
he's a Belgian Malinois, so he is. They are a little smaller than Shepherds. We haven't used Shepherds since the 90s. Malinois is just, quite frankly, are a much better dog for police work and military work in general. They're smaller, faster, a little more aggressive, have a little less health issues. They can't have health issues like Shepherds with the hip dysplasia and stuff like that, but not as much. They tend to last longer, and while they're really smart, they're also kind of dumb. What I mean by that is that they don't have a quit button in them, so they're gonna go, where Shepherds might give you a little bit of a harder time. Malinois typically don't. They just like to go. So we just like that aggressive nature in them. He is, you'll see here, he's about 60-ish pounds. I've leaned him out just as he gets older because I want him to last as long as possible. All of our dogs are male. People typically ask if female police dogs make good police dogs. They do. There's no real differentiation between the two. The only reason that we don't really see as many females is because they're kept for breeding purposes. The typical trained dog that we get from, and I'll get to that in a second, from where we get them from, typically goes for about $15,500 nowadays. The cities are paying for them. So if you're a breeder and you want to keep that lineage going and that money flowing, you tend to want to keep on to good females for breeding purposes. We get them from overseas. Typically from the Netherlands area, the Royal Dutch Police and Canine Associations. It's a sport to them, so they train up these dogs just like baseball is a big sport here. Dog training and dog working is really big over there. So a lot of what they do blends over into what we do. So the dogs typically already have some training under their belt. When we get them, we like it that way. It takes a lot of the stress of the training process off of us. So it shortens the training time significantly. We call it a breed dog. So you have to start really, really young with these dogs. By the time we usually get them, they're usually around 1.5 to 2. I won't bore you with some of the details, but they're typically either called title or pre-title, and then based upon their certifications that they get over there, they get a score for how well they do in their sport. But we usually get them around 1.5 to 2, so they're already mostly trained, if not fully trained, and then we get them and then we dirty them up a little bit, what we like to say, get them ready for patrol work, police work, take that sport out of them and just make them what we want them here. We use a vendor called Canine Group Holland. We've had a lot of great success with them. Before, we used to have to go to LA, go to a place called Adlerhurst and fight 30 other agencies around the country for police dogs. It just kind of sucked. It really wasn't working. It was a really hard process. You're fighting over dogs. You're trying to see if this dog's going to work out, and then you have a couple hours with it, and you take it home, and you hope it works out. Now, there was an insurance policy. You could return the dog and get a new one based upon health issues or things you saw or didn't like, but it's just a pain in the butt. So, Canine Group Holland's a relatively new company that we use, and so what they will do is they will go around the countryside in Europe, and they will film dogs for us that are being trained, and will ask for certain specifications. Like, we like dogs that are not dog aggressive. We don't want them pets fighting on searches. We want them to be a little more social, so they're not super mean when it comes to people. They're still going to have a little bit of it in them, but we want them to be more social, so they'll literally film the dogs doing what we ask. So So that way we know what we're getting by the time they come over here versus guessing. We have had 2 dogs. We're about to get a third from them. We have a dog retiring here at the end of the year. We're going to get a third dog from them. The first 2 we've gotten really great things. We got one in 2020 right around May, June, I might be out there. And then we just got another one at the end of last year. Like I said, we've been very pleased with the results we've gotten. And they already also come trained up on odors. Base training on odors, so it's significantly shortens the training time for us. So it's really advantageous because we can take a dog that would take 4 to 6 months to train, maybe longer, and cut that in half. And now they're working the road, so it's not wasting resources and time taking a handler off the road to train a brand new dog. Now we're out there able to just patrol and protect the city with our dogs. He speaks Dutch, my dog. All of our dogs speak Dutch because it's where they come from. But he understands plenty English and stuff. So the commands I give him are in Dutch. But he understands it. Because of unfortunately what happened to Chris, I got Benzo. I'm his 4th handler here. That's not common. The first handler got him and then gave it to a sergeant. She didn't pan out, so it's kind of got on the line. So I bring it up because people always ask about how often dogs are interchanged between different people. It's not uncommon for one dog to go to a second handler just based upon the time frame of the unit or moving on to other things or retiring. But typically it's only 1 or 2 people, not 4. So he's a very seasoned dog. So he's been doing it a while. Like he's 9, if I haven't said it already. So this is the last year. He'll retire this time. Any questions? Yeah. They very much love what they do. Yeah, it is. People always ask about like age and stuff, and when they're going to retire. You'll see it. I'm not forcing him to come to work. He very much still wants to be here. He very much still likes to do the job. He still has it in him. They love what they do. If I had a decoy here and I did a fight demonstration for you guys, you'd see his tail would wag. They love what they do. It really is fun for them. We're not forced to do it. Interesting. It's fine while they work. Retirement can be dependent upon the situation at home. We have one dog currently that's an inside dog. This is nature. It's all handler dependent. It's dependent on the situation. They typically live outside. We have outdoor kennels for them. It's insulated. They're modified tough sheds. So we got some funding from some private donors who gave us money for them. So they're modified tough sheds with air conditioning, insulated cameras, temperature sticks, water bowls. You can see what they're doing. They have an outdoor kennel they run in. They're very much well taken care of. But it's good to have that separation because it helps them rest. I don't want him running around playing all the time. I want him to rest so that way he's ready to go to work when my work week starts. And because of our crazy on-call schedule and spot schedules and stuff, he's usually working a lot because he's usually with me. Their home life while they're working is pretty simple. When they retire, it's just up to the handler to kind of make that work. It's always a challenge. It's still a police dog. They know they're retired, but it's still a police dog. You always can be cognizant of that. I can't have them run around friends over all the time. There's definitely a liability issue there. So there's a little bit of a separation. Just always be cognizant of that. He does. Yeah, he lives with me. And then I take him to work every day. Question. Very good question. Anything else before I get him out? No? All right. I'll get him out for you guys. I'll shut up now since I know you really want to see. That was going to be my question.
Got a little stick.
This is Benzo. Benzo! He's usually a little more rambunctious. He's kind of tired. We've been doing this since 11 a.m. today. So.
And how old is he again?
He is. Like I said, I try to keep him pretty lean and moving. We've had very good success at the Chandler Police Department with keeping our dogs going. I think it's a testament to our master trainer and just the way we operate, way we train. We don't try to do excessive crazy demonstrations, throwing dogs over. We don't do that stuff to make it laugh. And it's really good for the public to see. It's fun, but at the same time, it takes a toll on them. So we like to make them last. It's the food they give. We give them a special blend of food that we get from our vet. So we try our best to really make them laugh. See, I told you his tail's wagging. So I think the spiel I like to give at all these events is the importance and a lot of things that you don't really see media-wise and all that kind of stuff. Is the importance really of police dogs, and not just because of what they do, but just their presence and what they're capable of. Because unfortunately, you see around the country, a lot of places are getting rid of their canine units altogether for various reasons I won't get into. But he is not just a tool that's utilized to grab, that you utilize to apprehend people. He's a use of force deterrence. His presence alone tends to make people stop acting foolish. And he's the only use of force tool that not only can stop something. We have a lot of tools we utilize that if somebody is really motivated, they can fight. He's the only tool that we have. He's the only tool we have.
Oh no.
That's not supposed to be there.
He's the only tool that we have that I can reach out and grab somebody and prevent them from going somewhere. All of our less lethal tools and even our lethal tools, if somebody, depends on where they get hit, is really motivated, they can fight through it, right? He's the only tool we have that can stop people from going anywhere. He's also the only tool we have that I can take back. So I have him on a lead, on a leash. If somebody decides to give up as I'm sending them, I can pull him back. So he's the only tool we have there, and he's utilized too. It's a lot of times just his presence alone, I can stop from having to use force on people. And then also, quite frankly, because he can utilize to go out and grab people, I can tell you that it doesn't make the news, but there's plenty of times where police dogs have been utilized to stop people from getting in other people's homes, other people's businesses, prevent harm to other people just by getting out and grabbing somebody. And he is a huge asset to the department and to the citizens in which he serves. That doesn't really get a lot of the attention usually. When you see stuff on the news with dog bites, it's usually bad stuff, and people don't quite understand the full capacity of the utilization of dogs. And so when it comes to funding our positions and keeping them around, I like to just give my spiel about why they are crucial to the success of law enforcement. Not only that, he's utilized to keep officers safe. I love my dog, and I don't want anything to happen to him. But if it comes a time when I know that I'm going to send him into a situation that might get him killed, I'd much rather utilize a dog versus an officer. He's a tool, and I love him. I want him to come home with me, but I also know it's more important for officers to go home versus him. So they are tools that have a vast array of capabilities that really can serve you guys. So that's my spiel. But he like I said though, we don't get a ton of bites. He's usually utilized for just a show of force or a locating tool. Typically bad guys will run away. We don't get a ton of narcotics requests, but we get a lot more utilization on patrol work, and that's honestly the thing I like to do more than finding drugs. I like to find people more. He's utilized. I'm governed by use of force policy, so I have to explain my utilization of him. But he's typically used to locate bad guys hiding places. Yeah.
When you give commands, is it a verbal thing? Is it more hand gestures? Or both?
Typically verbal, but I can kind of point to where I want him to go, kind of thing. But typically, unless he's looking at me and he's actively searching, he's looking out, and he's looking away from me. So it's more if I'm standing in a stagnant place and I'm wanting him to go to a different area. But typically verbal. So he'll get about a year and some change overseas, and and then we'll get them. And typically, it takes a couple months to get them up and running. And then from there, it's a constant training though. We train every week. We have weekly in-service training on Wednesdays. It's a weekly training, and then on our days at work, I still do something training wise with them a couple days a week. So it's a constant flow of training.
How far away can you pick up on a narcotic?
It's as far as the odor's pooling. Wind plays a big factor in how things work for us when it comes to locating anything. But typically, when he's locating drugs, we primarily do sweeps of cars, so he's usually right up on the area. But if we do like interior stuff, he can pick it up. If it's flowing that way, he'll pick it up for a pretty good distance.
Is he trained to protect you?
Yeah, so there's an aspect of handler protection.
If someone charged you or something? He would,
Oh yeah. He'll come running. He'll do what he needs to do to protect that. Yeah. There is a, but it's also just it's just nature. Like even if somebody's like coming to say hi, he's probably if I'm not there to control him, he's probably going to attack somebody. That's just how he is. That's just how they are. Unless he knows you and likes you. Yeah.
That's what he does, yeah.
Would he attack a child?
Would he attack a child? I would say that if it happens, it happens. They're not. He's not. It's not that he's trying to actively harm somebody. It's an animal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the guy I work with put it a great way. It's kind of like if you have cows or donkeys or horses, whatever. Like you can love them to death and they can be great to you, but something can set them off and they'll kick you. Like it's an animal. At the end of the day, their brains are smaller and they're kind of dumb. So it's just he's gonna do what he wants to do. It's incumbent upon me to control him and make sure he doesn't do anything stupid like that. But it has happened. I mean, there are accidental bites all over the place. If he bites something on accident, I hope it'd be a cop and not another person. But those happen. All the liability is upon me. The way a guy trained me, that's pretty well put, was we have to be the brains of the operation. So he's very smart and good at what he does, but I got to be smart.
Yeah.
So do you give them, like, if you're looking for a person that, say, there's a helicopter searching and this and that, do you give them like a shirt or another item with that scent on it to look?
So that's he's not trained that way. That's typically like a bloodhound thing. He's just gonna go off the freshest scent and either start trailing those to the ground or he's gonna air a scent. That's whichever way it's going. So like if like somebody's in their backyard and I'm working down this road, he'll pick up that scent from over the fence.
Wow.
But what they work off of is called fear scent. It's an enhanced scent. So constantly you have skin cells that are shedding off of your body, but when you are amped up, stressed, scared, running from the cops, you are cooling off an enhanced scent, and he's going to work off of that. So that's what he's going to gravitate to the most, because he'll run off of that. His drive will run off of that, and he'll want to go find that the most.
So they can sense fear?
So we do have some police officers here from the city of Chandler as well. Unfortunately, you guys got double booked. And,
That's all good.
so I'd like to invite them to come up a little bit and talk to us a little bit about the city of Chandler, the police department. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Hey guys, thank you.
No worries, guys.
Thank you so much.